Exponents. This is a review of Part 6. In today's lesson, students will review how to divide negative exponents. How to do what? How to divide negative exponents. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to make sure that you remember that when it's negative and up, bring it down, negative and down, move it up. Okay, so for these, you're going to ask yourself, are you going to move this up? Okay. All right. Okay. So what you have to understand is that when it's negative and down, it's in the denominator. Where do you move it? Move it up. Okay. So already you know that if it's negative and down, you have to move it up, my friends. And you have to understand that in order to expand it. Okay, so watch. At the top I have x to the power of 1, right? Okay. But because this is negative and down, I have to move it up. So how many x's will I put at the top? I will have 3 x's at the top. So I already have 1 x. I'm going to move up 3. So it's going to be x times x times x times x. Okay. Are we good? Do you understand that? That I moved x to the power of 3 up, made it positive, and so now I've got 4 x's. If you were to simplify this, it would be x to the power of 4. Does that make sense? Now, when you subtract, okay, and you move this to the top, remember, you're going to subtract a negative 3. And negative times negative, when they touch, makes positive. So what is 1 minus a negative 3? Well, you can make these positive, put little plus signs, okay? And 1 plus 3 is 4. Make sense? So we have x to the power of 4. Did we have to move it up? Yes, we did. We absolutely did. Okay? Okay, so we moved it up. All right. So now we're going to have, for number 2, x to the power of 4 divided by x to the power of negative 2. So do you have a negative and down? Negative and down, move it up. So you are going to have to move it up. Let's go ahead and write it over here so it makes more sense. I'm saying x to the power of 4 divided by x to the power of negative 2. I want to move this up, okay? Yes, I do. So if I'm moving it up, I already have what at the top? I have x times x times x times x. If I'm moving it up, my friends, if I'm moving it up, what does it become? If I move it up to the top, this actually becomes times x to the power of 2. And then it turns into a multiplication problem, right? It does. Because then it becomes 4 plus 2, doesn't it? 4 plus 2 at the top. 4 plus 2. So I'm going to put 2 more at the top. Okay. So how many x's do I have now? X to the power of what? X to the power of 6. That's very good. All right. When you subtract, again, I'm telling you that you are going to subtract a negative 2. Okay? Negative times negative is positive. So if you make this positive, it does become 4 plus 2. And that is x to the power of 6. Are you following me now? Okay? Are you following me? All right. So for the next one, what do you notice about the bottom? It's negative. So it's negative and down, move it up. Okay? But this one also says it's negative at the top. So if it's negative and up, bring it down. So this is very confusing because what you're going to do is you're actually going to flip this fraction. What are you going to do? You're going to flip it. And when you flip it, okay, it makes the exponents positive. So watch. Okay? I'm going to move this one down and x to the negative 3. I'm going to move x to the negative 4 up. And then watch what happens. I'm going to write it over here in this column. It's going to be x to the power of 4. I moved it up. And at the bottom, x to the power of 3. See what I did? I just switched it and made it positive. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So when I expanded, it would be x times x times x times x at the top divided by x times x times x. Very good. So I can go ahead and cross off pairs of x's to make 1. So 1, 2, 3. What's left? Aha! What's left is x to the power of 1. Okay? If you subtract, though, it becomes, I move this up, it becomes -3 minus a -4. Okay? Negative times negative is positive, so change these symbols to positive, and then it really becomes 4 minus 3. What is 4 take away 3? Isn't it 1? 4 take away 3? Yeah, so it's x to the power of 1. So x to the power of 1 is the answer. Okay? Let's go ahead and do one more. Is there a negative exponent at the bottom here? X to the power of -3? No. Is there one at the top? Yes. So if it's negative and up, just move this one down. Okay, move this one down. So if you move it down, that means, we're going to go ahead and write in this column. That means that what we did is we have x to the power of 3 at the bottom, but then we moved x to the power of -2 down to make it positive 2. X to the power of positive 2. See what I did? And now it becomes multiplication. When you multiply exponents, you have to add. Very good. What is at the top here? Is it nothing? What's here? It's invisible, the invisible one. Good. So if you simplify this, it would be 1 over x to the power of 3 plus 2, which is 5. Now I'll show you why this works. If you move this down, it'll be x times x times x. That's x cubed. Now you moved down 2 x's, didn't you? So what's at the top, remember? A 1. So if you subtract, if you simplify, it's 1 over x to the power of 5. If you subtract, though, okay, this is going to be x to the power of -2 minus 3. All right, so you have a -2 and a -3. -2 and -3, is that right? Okay, same signs, add and keep. So what is 2 plus 3? And keep the negative, 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 negative. It's -5. So at the top, it would be x to the power of -5. But because it's negative and up, we moved it down. So do you see how this works? And do you see why when it's negative and up, you have to move it down? Okay, make sure you get this down. I know this is totally tricky, but you can do it.